So Rachel Reeves has reported in the Times today. Rachel Reeves is floating a plan to scrap stamp duty and council tax. I'll say that again. She's floating an idea to scrap stamp duty and council tax. And it's rumoured that she's going to replace them with a new annual property levy. So, like I said, this was reported in the Times newspaper. And basically, I think what it means, if I was to translate what it means a permanent new tax on your house. Not just when you buy. Yeah? So it's every single year. So instead of finally paying off your mortgage and thinking, great, I own my house outright, happy days, you're still going to be paying that tax forever. It's like being on the hamster wheel, but the hamster wheel belongs to HMRC. Now think about that. Most people already pay income tax, national insurance, VAT, fuel duty, alcohol duty, inheritance tax, road tax. The list just goes on and on and on and on. And now, just owning your own house, your own home, the place you live in, that's potentially going to become another annual tax burden that you need to worry about. And look, let's not. They're going to dress it up as fairness, basically. So they're going to dress it up as fairness. They'll say it spreads the cost. They'll say it makes the property market move. But the reality, for me, the reality is simple. It's just another way of squeezing us ordinary people and squeezing us dry. And let me ask you this. When was the last time the government ever replaced or amended a tax and you ended up paying less? Never. Because that doesn't happen. Every replacement just turns into extra. First it's temporary, then it's permanent. That's how it works. Then, on top of that, it goes up every year going forwards until you can barely notice how much you're handing over. It just becomes overwhelmed. In other words, it's death by 1,000 cuts. You pay to earn money, you pay to spend money, and you pay to save money. And now, if these changes come in, you'll pay just to own your own roof over your head every single year. That's the game. And most people don't realise it. And they don't realise that they're playing that game. The average household in the UK already pays around 2/3 of everything they earn and spend in tax. In other words, you work 4 days out of 5 in the week just for the government. Just for the bloody government. And that 5th day, well, that's for you. Happy days. And people shrug it off their shoulders and say, oh, well, that's just life. No, that's not life. That's being rinsed. That's being rinsed. And here's the twist. The wealthy people, the big companies, the hedge funds, the institutions, they're not panicking. They're rubbing their hands together right now because they know how to structure their assets so they still win. And they know most people in the public will panic. They'll sell, they'll complain, but all that does is create more opportunity for them to buy. If you're sat there thinking, what's the point of getting into property right now? The government's just going to tax us more. That's exactly the mindset they want you to have. Because if you're scared, they get the market to themselves. And trust me, they're not leaving it alone. Lloyds wants to become the biggest landlord in the UK. BlackRock is buying entire towns in the US. Entire towns. The institutions aren't saying, oh no, what about a new tax? They're saying, how much can we swallow up before the average person wakes up? And this is what you've got to understand. Yes, the rules change. Yes, the government brings in new laws, new bills, new taxes, new regulations. But the game stays the same. Own the right assets in the right way, and you win. Stay on the treadmill, working for wages, exchanging your time for money in a job, paying every single tax that they throw at you. Well, you're going to lose. Now, property isn't going away. People still need somewhere to live. The housing shortage, well, that hasn't magically disappeared, has it? If anything, it's got even worse. And rents, they're rising because of it. So, while homeowners will moan about another annual tax, landlords who know what they're doing, well, they're just going to raise rents to cover all of this. That's how the system works. And you've got two choices. You can stay on the outside and you can complain. You can complain about how unfair it all is, watch your bills go up and your savings shrink, or you can learn how to play the game properly. And that's why we built Property School. See, most people think that they can't get into property because of all the headlines that is going on. You know, renters' rights bill, new taxes, cost of living. But the truth is, the best opportunities are created at times like this. When everyone else is scared, when the rules change, when the average person says, nah, that's it, I'm checking out, I'm done. So, inside Property School, we show you how to adapt, how to set up your investments so new laws don't crush you and wipe you out, how to buy the right property at the right price so you win from day one, how to structure deals so you're not relying on your own savings, how to raise money the smart way, how to negotiate, how to manage, and then how to scale. This is the stuff that the average landlord never learns. And because they don't learn this stuff, they end up selling when things get tough. That's just what happens. That's why there's loads of properties on the market right now that landlords are just trying to ditch. But if you're serious about building wealth, if you're serious about creating passive income, if you're serious about not being chained to your job forever, then you need to learn this stuff. It's more essential now than ever. And that just means you need to learn it now. Because the institutions, you know, the Lloyds, the BlackRock, the Blackstones of this world, they're trying to swallow up the market whole. They're trying to get as much property as they can. Right now, we've still got the opportunity, but it's not going to stay there forever. Because, look, here's the hard truth. You're going to end up paying more tax. You cannot escape that. But you can choose whether you pay it as a struggling saver who loses 2/3 of their money every single year, or as an investor who knows how to turn those same rules into an advantage. And that's why we launched Property School. To give ordinary people the tools, the knowledge and the confidence to step into property the right way. And better yet, you can join for less than 50p a day. There's no contracts, you can cancel anytime. And right now, you can just get in, learn everything that you need to do. There's also a really strong community. We've got training courses, we've got masterclasses, everything that is you need to do to learn to be able to navigate this changing system. It's all in there. and is taught by some of the UK's top property investors. So come check us out. Type into any browser property.school/go. Let me share the link on the screen right now. Property.school/go. Because the government wants you on the treadmill. They want you paying tax. And then they want you paying more tax. And they want to keep taxing you until you die. The institutions, they want you scared and they want you sitting on the sidelines so they can buy everything up. I want you to win. But that's your choice. So ask yourself, are you going to keep being the person who pays more and more for less and less? Or are you finally going to step across the line and learn how to play the game that the wealthy have been playing this whole time? That's what property school's for. So come join us out. Go to property.school/go. Type it into any browser. Like I say, it's cancel anytime. There's no long-term contracts. So you can come in, check it out. If it's not for you, you can leave at any point that you want. No questions asked. Cancelling's easy. Go check out property.school/go. Now is really the right time to be getting in. I can't say it more clearly than that. So, are you going to be the one who makes the decision to step across that line, or are you going to regret it in the future that you didn't take on this opportunity? Come check us out, and I'll see you inside.